Hey, everybody that's joined in so far. Stephen here, and
Cassia. Thanks for joining, guys.
Thanks for joining. We'll start here shortly. Give a few more minutes, but we are very excited to show you all the updates coming to the CRM portions of the program. And I think the best part is they're really nice. They make things very easy for flowing through, adding in new customers and so on. So, all right, so we're officially at 2 p.m. here Eastern time, and we'll give it a couple more minutes again, just for any stragglers here. But thank you all so much for joining in. And again, we're really excited to show you the updates coming to the CRM portions of Bpro.
You want to do a tour of the office?
Yeah, I was going to say, while we wait, why don't we just kill some time and maybe give everybody a little tour of the office here?
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do that.
Okay.
I'll lock the door.
Oh, put the power cord out. All right. Okay, here we go, everybody. Yeah, what's going on here? Oh, hey, there's our founder, Steve Cody. Hey, Steve.
Oh.
Say hi to
hey guys, how are you?
to our awesome users. Hey, Brad. Just doing a quick tour. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to watch where the camera's at here. I don't do this every day. We're gonna. Hey, office people. Hey, office people. Hey, guys. Oh, hey. Oh, that's the crazy sales team. All right. Hey, Jay, what's happening, man? All right. Hey, guys. Sorry, guys, I'm not very stable here with the laptop and all. A very cool office. I'm just doing the lap here. Oh, wait. I'm terrible at this. Hey, guys. All right, so this is a little tour of the office here. There's our fun canoe. It's for tiki time on Fridays.
There's me again.
Okay. Everybody still hear me okay? I didn't break anything while I walked around the office. All right, I think we're all set. So what I'll do here is I'll start sharing my screen and we'll get started. We'll go through some of these great updates here. Okay. So I think we had a few new people join in here too since, so that's great. Welcome everybody. Stephen O'Hara here with our software company. Keen to show you the updates here to our new CRM. We will be recording this webinar and sharing it out with everybody afterwards. So don't feel bad if you have to hop off for anything along the way. It's okay. Let's get right down to business here. So I think some of the best updates here, the most significant ones that you'll notice will be to the new customer form and our new lead form. I just mean that really those are two areas that I'm sure you all use, especially the new customer form on a daily basis. So we'll just go in here, we'll open up the new customer form and we'll just check this out. So we'll click on new customer in our system. We're just on a demo site here again, so it might look a little bit different than yours, but there we go. I'm just gonna move this thing up at the top, perfect. Okay, so when creating a new customer, this is the layout of the new customer input form. It'll actually show the same if you were ever editing an existing customer. But going through here, we have it split into three main sections. There's profile. That's where you'll find a lot of the basic info, name, phone number, email. Then you have addresses. So you can add in as many addresses here on the address side of things in that tab. And then extra info. And that's where you'll find things like your customer intel tags that you can apply in your lead sources. Okay, so we'll just go back to profile and we'll start there. We have our title field here to start things off. I know many of you are really used to the common, or the current form, I should say, that we're using, where you see, let's say, account owner first and foremost. Here we start off with title and first and last name. So I find this form like really easy to fill out, and I think you'll all appreciate how it's much more straightforward and easy to use. Now, I like to tab through my fields here as I'm filling it in. Like, I just find it a little simpler sometimes, although I'm not really on my computer right now, so I may not do that. But it is a good tip if you want to just tab through the fields and fill them out as you go. That can make it, pretty quick process. We'll go with name somebody.
Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks. That's better.
Still going with the Steve.
It's all right. Okay. Business name field, same as always. Emails, though, you still have the ability to search for duplicates in the system, but with the update, you'll now have the ability to create multiple customers or leads using an existing email in the system. Previously, we used that to prevent duplicates, but we've really become aware that often there can be a need to have one email tied to multiple customers. And so we're now accommodating just first and last name or business name as the minimum amount of information to save a customer or lead in the system. But with these new forms, you actually will get to this, so we can either set certain fields as required and we can hide certain fields. We can't change the placements of where they appear on the form, but it still gives us a much greater amount of flexibility. So if there's certain fields on this form that potentially aren't relevant for your business, you could hide them altogether. So you or your staff won't feel obligated to fill them out. By the other side of it, with required fields, you may find that additional fields might be helpful to make required. And that really just helps ensure like consistency in collecting and gathering your data on your customers. And the result of that is far more detailed reporting. Okay, so just wanted to mention that before I forgot. But yeah, we have our role field. This is a brand new field for preferred pronouns, and the intent is really that you can kind of mark how a certain client prefers to be addressed. So that's always important. And below that, we have our checkboxes for notification opt-in. So allow SMS notifications and allow email notifications. So that client would basically be eligible to receive either the email or SMS notifications, one that are actually turned on in the system, and of course, eventually are applicable to that client. So if it was, say, a job appointment reminder, you had this client booked in sometime down the road, let's say October, and if we pick allow email notifications and we have a template active for sending a job appointment reminder via email, that client will for sure get it. So those are pretty straightforward, I think, as far as the opt-ins. But here we also have allow calls and allow marketing emails. So allow marketing emails, that's not new. We've seen it before in the old forms with, I believe it was listed as unsubscribe from marketing emails. With this checkbox, you can either opt your customer in or out from receiving any kind of emails from the system. So the difference, I guess, with this updated feature is you can uncheck it. So think before, if you checked unsubscribe and you saved, there'd be no way to undo that. Okay, and now with allow calls, this is ultimately like a do not call option. So if you have certain clients that either request not to receive phone calls, or that maybe a scenario where maybe you ran into a client that you simply didn't want to ever have an accidental call with again, you could mark them here, just uncheck the allow calls checkbox. And so in their profile, if you tried to hit the call button, for instance, you know, it would tell you that they're not allowed to be called. So that is a helpful little option in there. Then moving down the form a little bit further, we've got our phone numbers section. And even the phone numbers I find here on this, this updated form are really straightforward to enter in. First, you have country code. It's already populated with a 1 for North America based on my location information. That's already built into the system. But we could just pop in a phone number here. Really easy. We'll just go 355-1043. And you can fill in an extension as well as a description. Those don't change, right? So should you need to populate that, you can. But what is a little different here is phone type. We've now included some predefined options for you to select for phone type, and that is also to ensure consistency. Before we had like a free field, right, where you could type anything for phone type, and that's a little problematic when it does come to things like reporting. You may already be aware just from, you know, some of our previous webinar that we have some planned future enhancements as well to further notifications, including two-way texting and calling directly from the system. So that's where it's so important to have these really predefined phone types, because we don't, well, it's not ideal. I mean, you could send a text to a landline, but I don't think you want to, right? And
I think there's a cost associated with that too.
Oh yeah, it might even cost extra, yeah. But that's kind of the idea, right? So we'll have really clear indications of which phone numbers are which. Now, while we're just on the topic of that real quick, what we will be doing in the update, it'll be an automatic process that we do on our end, but we will be mapping existing phone type descriptions that people have typed in. So for instance, if you type in somebody's phone type previously as mobile, we'll be using like a script to match those directly in as cell numbers instead. So all your existing records will automatically be updated. Okay, if you know what, further to that, if there's one that we can't match up, it will be listed in as other. So it won't have a defined selection of, say, cell, work, or home. It'll be other. Okay, so you see here, as soon as I add in that phone number, I haven't clicked anything, I haven't saved anything, but here's the phone number that I just entered at the bottom of the screen. Next to it, I have the ability to set it as primary, display on invoice, and if I have SMS checked off here, I can also define it as the primary number for which the client can receive their text notifications at. In this case, I'll just leave it off, but we can add multiple numbers too, right? So we have add another, so that doesn't change. It's actually a lot more easy and straightforward. So I added it. I can still clearly see that one I just popped in there, right? So let's just add another. We'll go 222, 333, 4444. There it is, right? Not primary. And you know what? I don't want to display it on my invoices. And I could just keep going with this. I can add as many numbers as I need on the fly. You have a clear changes button. If you need to, you can clear the information that exists here on the phone number form. Just so you know that it's not going to clear the entire customer form. It's just for this little phone number section. We've got these little lines around it, but that's to kind of help indicate that that's its own little module within the form. Okay, so scrolling back up, we'll go through the different tabs here. Now onto addresses. Same as before, but again, I think a lot more straightforward. You might remember, well, you could open your system now and see actually you've got, address name, address contact name, there's address phone number. So all these different fields, which originally were set up to help accommodate situations of variation, where you might have a different contact person at the address. So how it works now, just much more straightforward. We can just go ahead and fill in our address. So I'll just type in something made up here. Field Street in Jacksonville. Perfect, North Carolina, that sounds good. Okay, and look at this, just like the phone numbers, right here at the bottom, I'm already seeing the preview of this address saved right in as I'm entering it. Now it's not officially saved, but it's there. And if I do need to add additional addresses, I can just click add another. Again, we have checkboxes here that help us define which is billing and which is service, or that address could be both. Same idea, if I clear these changes, I'm just clearing the address portion of the form, sorry. Now here on address name, this is really cool. Same idea, we can just go ahead and define it as new home, office, cottage, you name it. But that is helpful and will still be a good reference on the address. And should we need to add any description, that's just a great opportunity for special instructions, like maybe use this driveway, or here's the security code, something like that. And attachments. And the attachment section here is really cool. You can just drag an image right into the address attachment section. So
we make sure everybody can hear. Open the chat. Sorry, I'm just hearing that some people don't have audio.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just standing by here. I'm just going to check the chat real quick.
Where's the chat?
Oh, we'll just go in here. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So, John, we just had maybe a worry that people weren't hearing our audio. Thank you. Okay, so we have confirmation everything's working well. Good. So we'll keep going. Sorry, how do I hide this? Okay. So carrying on, yep, dragging the attachments right into the form here, really easy. I know some people will look up like home addresses if you serve clients right at their homes. You can pop it right in there from, say, save the image from Google Street View and then just drag it in there from your computer. Let's keep going here a little further down. And same idea here, we can make it with the star indicating the billing address and the truck indicating the service address. Okay, so just to explain those icons. It's neat though, if you do hover over it, it'll tell you exactly what it does. I can hit add another, like I said, and we can just pop in a second address here. We'll just say 300 Manor Drive. Okay, and maybe, oops, maybe I want to just define this one as the service address, for instance. Okay, so hopefully that's pretty straightforward. I think it's a total breeze with these new address forms. But yeah, please let us know what you think and if you have any questions on that. Then we have extra info. And again, this is where we can tag in things like the account owner. So we didn't do away with it, but we put it in a more appropriate section, I think. Certainly not the first field you're going to fill in when adding a new customer. But with the configuration now on these forms, you could do that. But we can just pick the account owner based on any of the users in our system. Who is here? I'm not really sure. Just like everybody. Okay, then we have our campaign. So our lead source campaign, again, will track like the sales that you can attribute to that client down the road, and it will feed into our lead campaign report. Now, I find that due to a lack of ability to make this a required or mandatory field up to this point, it's really kind of inhibited the data that people are collecting and have feeding into their lead campaign reports. So just a little tip, just a thought of my own, but if you were to make any field, let's say on this form required, this would be a great choice, because it just provides a lot of value. And it really just, I know it's one of those things that I think most people want to track anyways. So if you have staff using the system, you make it required, it ensures you get it filled in every single time. Now, if you do make certain fields required, let's say after you have, of course, clients already in the system, if you ever edit those clients, and you open up this same form, you would have to fill in that required information if it wasn't already present before you could successfully save. Awesome. So we'll just pick mailer, flyer, promo, or something here. See what happened here, folks. This is really neat, actually. I picked mailer, flyer, promo, and it automatically assigned the intel in the intel fields.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's part of the update. Again, I'll be showing that a little further along the way, but we have some updates related to that, and it makes it way easier, right? I know many of you might have required intel fields or spend time looking through intel from one customer to the next just to assign it properly, setting in some of these default selection. So when I pick mailer or flyer, I can have it set so all of these intels apply to the client automatically. And yeah, it just saves a lot of time and a lot of clicks. Last, we have our bio. Great for just anything that you want to put on file related to the client. Really their personal preferences, anything. So you can get that in there. Date of birth. Okay, that's still the same. Age range. Easy options there. Gender, okay, so we've got those, and we also have a genderqueer non-binary option. Really, we would just want to be as as inclusive and mindful of stuff like that as we can be. And same with mood here, now existing in a little drop down. So just easy selections if you need to change the mood, and you still have your social media link fields as well. But again, I think, yeah, hopefully you guys all like this, and I personally think it's a great improvement in cleaning up, making this entire form much more straightforward. Maybe we should move and check on to the updated lead form as well, but maybe we'll ask to see if anybody has any questions related to the new customer form. I'll go ahead and save this customer I created. And just as before, we can create a job on Stevie's behalf, or we could view Stevie's profile. And we'll just open up the form again by hitting edit. And do we have any polls ready here, Cassia? We could maybe put out a quick poll. Maybe I'll wait a little bit until we get through that lead section, but. Okay, sorry, I'll have to come back to this. But let's move on to the new lead form. It's very similar, of course. If you've ever entered a new lead in the system, there's a lot of similarities to the new customer form, but just in case, we'll go through it quicker and just show what's there. So same idea, split into 3 sections: profile, address, and extra info. Okay, all the same fields here as far as the profile information. Okay, we can add our phone numbers and all of that good information. Over to addresses, a little more simplified here on the address side of things. We can't add multiple, and we can't define them as service or billing, because really just as a lead, we don't have an ability to even create an order on their behalf. So that's why it's a little more basic here on the address tab. Other than that, extra info, same sort of ideas here too. We've got it split up into account owner, campaign, and priority. Okay, is your main options. And you have your Intel groups. And same with personal information. It's pretty much all the same, just a slightly different layout. You've got that priority section in here and this checkbox here to define whether this person has the authority to make decisions or not. Previously, that was just left as decision maker, but to expand on that, really, does the person have the authority to make the proper decisions? Okay, so please let me know if you have any questions on the create lead form, but really just so much similar to the create customer form that I don't think there's anything too much to focus on here. Okay, but it is nice to have that same ease of use exist in both sections. And sorry, by the way, I meant to mention at the very start that we're aiming for about two weeks out or so for the release, but we will absolutely give you guys the exact date as soon as we have it ironed out. But we're getting awfully close. And yeah, we're expecting around that period, or around 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so let's see, what are we gonna hop into next? I think we should jump into the lead customization section, or sorry, no, the form customization, pardon my mistake there. Here I am just like clicking around blindly. Okay, so under your customize menu, you, in the update, you'll have access to the form customization, permission pending, really, depending on your permission level, I should say. But it allows you to customize these new updated forms. So let me just tuck this away, because now that we're here, just make this a little wider. Okay, and right when I arrive at this page, it's giving me a bit of direction and telling me we need to pick a form first to begin the customization. So we have 5 forms to choose from related to the CRM. We have our customer creation / edit form. We first looked at that. We have our contact create and edit form. You know what, I'm gonna just open Stevie back up, because I'd like to just maybe display these forms within that profile as we talk about them. Okay, we'll just go right into Stevie's profile. Perfect. Okay, so we have our contact create and edit form, right? So if you haven't done that before, and just in case, it's going to be here in the contact section. We don't have any tied to Stevie. And you know what? That's an important, functionality change too. In the past, you create a client in Bpro and you save it. Bpro would then create an associated contact record and an associated address record. Well, now it just creates the profile. It'll create an address if you add one in there at the time of creation, right? But it does not create just an additional contact. Like, simply, there's really no need for having this second contact that has the exact same name as my main profile. So here in the update, should you need it to add any additional contacts, you can just come into the profile and add away. And this is exactly what the form customization is in reference to, right? So we can just add in all the regular contact information. We have the do not call option here also existing in the contact profile, and then extra information. So we can tag them as a decision maker. We can give them some bio information as well, but we cannot tag Intel or lead source campaigns to contacts, because really that's tagged to the main profile information in the first place. Okay. Anyway, so let's get back over there. We'll just cancel. We also have our phone create and edit form. So that form exists in the customer profile form, right? So when we're creating or editing a customer, that's where the phone form exists. And I kind of pointed that out earlier, that this is really like its own kind of like sub-component that exists within the form. Okay, so, or sub form, if you will. But yeah, we can configure these fields, show or hide them, or set certain ones as required. Okay. And last, we've got, of course, the phone field also exists in the lead. We've got our address create and edit and our lead create and edit. So we just took a look at that one, but let's take a quick look at the address create and edit, because this particular one is not in reference to the ones that exist in lead and customer. Kind of like the contacts, address is also its own unique form in its own right, right? So anytime I edit any of these existing addresses or add my own, that's in reference simply to this form, okay? Hopefully that helps clarify, but you'll find it very straightforward, I think, in using it. Okay, so let's jump into some of these customizations. I think I'd like to really put the focus on the customer form, and from there, you know, you'll see how these same kind of changes can be applied to any of the other 4 forms. Okay, so we have first, last, and business name. We can set them as required, but we cannot hide them. Like I mentioned earlier, Bpro requires minimum first and last or business name to create either a customer or a lead. So nobody can hide those ones, unfortunately. But further to that, you can really make it your own. So let's say I want to make phone number required and email required. That makes some sense for me. I maybe am not too worried about the title, so maybe I hide that one. Let's see, not too worried about role either, maybe. Everybody's different, right, in terms of what they like to collect, and some of these might be more or less relevant depending on your exact business type, right? But so we have our main profile section. We have this all split into sections, so it's easy to follow, and it matches up quite nicely with what you see here in the form itself, right? So that's our main profile info. And next we have, scrolling down, we have our information section, right? So that's going to be over here where we have account owner and things of that nature, Intel. For me, maybe I want to hide age range. Maybe I'd like to make account owner required, stuff like that, right? So I like website, but I don't really do a whole lot on social media, right? So maybe I turn off Twitter, LinkedIn. Actually, I probably would use Facebook maybe a little more too. Again, just I'm talking about my own personal stuff here. All right, and then we have our addresses section. So the addresses, this is referencing specifically the address section that exists in this form. And the only configuration we can make with this one is either to show the address tab or not. Because really, it's so basic when you're adding in addresses. You've got address line 1 and all of the other fields sub to it, other than maybe address line 2, are very much essential for building in a complete address. We need the country, we need the state, we need the zip. So same kind of idea. There's a limitation to what we could actually turn off for that. So it's that one particularly acts more just like a general switch. Okay, so I've made a few configurations here, or changes, I should say. Now, that's it. I don't need to save anything. There's not a save button on this page. You can see as I was going through here, I was getting little messages from the system as I go, just to make another, right? Rule created, done, it's done. So now I can go over here. I'm just gonna cancel out of this form and refresh my page. We'll be able to see these changes right away. Since I'm working out of 2 different tabs though, I do need to do that quick refresh. And opening this up, let's just see, what did I make hidden and required? I hid Twitter and LinkedIn. Okay, are they there? No, they're not. Okay, and then we had, what did we make required? Account owner, date of birth. Let's look, oh. Okay, so account owner now has a star next to it. I already had John filled in, so that's fine. Date of birth is now required as well. Okay, so you're gonna know if anything's required and you haven't filled it out, because if you go to save, Bpro, also part of this update, has some really awesome, our team has built in some great error validation. So it'll point you to what you haven't filled in, and it'll be much more user-friendly, especially I always try and think of that scenario of new staff, you know, getting involved in the program, and it's got to be as user friendly as it can be. Okay, so I've made email required. I'd have to go fill that in, right? And of course, also here highlighted my date of birth. Anyways, you guys get the idea there, and I think it's super cool. Right, I hope you like it. Okay, so that's the form customization. We can definitely take a look at just some of the other options in the others. But this is really just reflecting all the fields that exist in one form or the next. Okay, so I will take a quick pause here again just to check and see if we have any questions, and encourage anybody that might have any questions, go ahead and type some up. And I think we'll take a quick poll here too and just see what we can get back as far as opinions on stuff. Okay, so I'm just checking out, oh, sorry, just checking out the chats here real quick. For the, okay, just gonna read out a quick question here. For the Intel groups, can you just select a Intel group without selecting a campaign? Thank you for the question, Noel. Absolutely.
Hi, Noel.
Absolutely. Then we have another quick question here. Oh, couple, that's okay. Okay, Kendra asks, with regards to existing customers, is there a way to merge them? We have a couple of customers that came in through various leads and created duplicate accounts. Unfortunately, no, there is not a merge option within the update. Sorry about that. But I might be able to help you in terms of maybe getting rid of that duplicate. We do have a delete option if there's no orders tied to a particular customer. So let's just take maybe a quick look at that. Just anytime you edit a profile, if there's no orders attached, you can hit the delete button there in the bottom corner. Okay, and let's see what else we have. Oh, Patty's asking, didn't see the notes section for addresses. Let's just backtrack over there real quick. So after the addresses are added, they collapse. Oops. Let's go in here. Okay, once they're saved into the database, we would have to hit edit here on the particular address we want to edit. Same thing with the phone numbers. Okay, so there we go. Address description. That's basically your address notes right there. Just a little bit of a label change, Patty. You just put it right there in the address description section. Okay, and just reviewing a couple more real quick here. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to overlook, Patty. There's a second part to Patty's question. Where will our information show up from that field? Same as before, Patty. Yeah, just like the address notes, nothing has changed as far as where the information actually will display. Perfect. Moving on. Kendra is also asking, in the phone descriptions, are we able to designate various cell phones? For instance, we have husband and wife clients. We need to have an associated cell phone for each one, or office numbers. Yeah, absolutely. So maybe not in the profile itself here. Let's just go back here when editing the phone numbers, right? You could give it the type designation. So if they're both cell phones, that's fine. Maybe in the description, you could define a little bit more as to who that cell phone relates to, or if it's a shared cell phone or something like that. That might be the best option there. Okay, just a couple more here. Oh, got it. Patty, I see my friend Guru here answered the notes question for us. Address notes is now listed as address description. Thank you, Guru, my man. How do we turn a lead into a customer? Question from Brandy. I'm gonna have to come back to that one in a bit, Brandy, but basically when you have a lead in the system, you can then convert it to a client. There's gonna be a convert button right on the lead's profile. So when do you do that? Ultimately, once you have a client that, or a lead, sorry, that's kind of reached a point of interest that you're ready to generate an order on their behalf. Okay. Then we have Doris. Can we set contact email to default? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so perfect. Yeah, going back here to the forms, the customization, I'm just going to close down the chat for a sec. Cassie, have we sent out a poll yet?
No, but we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, click that.
Just hit that.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to send out a quick poll. Just get a little bit of feedback from you guys as we go. Okay, and I'm just going to get right back to the forms here. So for contact, absolutely, you can make any of the information on this mandatory or required. Okay, and then we have, and contact is always, again, just to fully clarify, it is its own form right here under contacts in the profile. Okay, next up, we've got phones, addresses, and leads. Again, I think you guys get the idea here. Please ask me a question about it if you'd like me to come back to this, but I'm gonna just keep moving on. Gonna get to next our lead campaign builder. Okay, so bear with me just a sec here. There we go. I just had to open something up that I wanted to check out. Okay, so under customize again, the lead campaign builder, I almost wish I could show this on our current system, just to do a little bit of a comparison. Can I open up a new tab here, Cassia?
Yeah, hold on.
Sorry, I gotta get this out of the way.
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah, never mind. I won't do it now. But let's go into the lead campaign builder. So this campaign builder, it's really your lead sources, right? So when you're adding in the clients and you've got this section here where under the extra information, right? When we pick that campaign, that one method from which our client found us, we've now got an entire section here called campaign management. Okay, so I'm going to open this up. And here on campaign management, it's pretty cool. These are all the campaigns that we currently have built into the system. This page is really straightforward. We've got edit options. So if we need to change the details of any of these campaigns, we can. Going through the columns real quick, you have your name so they are easily identifiable. Any costs or spend that's built in will also be displayed here. You can see clearly when they were created or if they have end dates. They don't have to, but they can. End dates are great for tracking stuff that, let's say if, whatever it is, like if you spend money on a Facebook ad that's running for a month or two, defining the end date will be a good reference down the road. Then you have your status column, so you can see which ones are active or not. They can be set to inactive at any time. Gravity form default, just to clarify, because a lot of people might not really have any knowledge of gravity forms, but Bpro does have an ability, and some of our clients absolutely are connected with us from their website, their WordPress website, with a gravity form add-on that can basically feed website submissions directly into Bpro's lead or customer sections. So when that happens, when we set up a lead campaign source, we can toggle it and say, okay, Bpro, this one is a default we want attached to basically every kind of lead or customer that comes in through the website via gravity forms. Sorry, that was a bit of a long one to explain, but I hope that makes sense. So if you do have your web leads coming in through a Gravity Form connection with Bpro, you can toggle those to be default, so it'll automatically attach that campaign to those clients. Now, again, the added benefit to this new area, as well as some of the updates to the lead campaigns in general, is that they can now also be configured not only to attach those, but then attach also default intel in the process. So we'll dig into that, but here's also a quick column to display any intel that is attached, and then owning location. So not relevant for all, but for any of our clients that are part of a multi-location structure, that's a really helpful reference, of course, to see where these lead campaigns are tied to. Okay, so at the very top right of the page, we've got an add a campaign button. So we can pick that. Let's just create a quick campaign here. We'll call it, let's see, I don't know, radio ad or something might be fun. I think I probably already have that in there, but that's okay. Radio ad, October promo. Okay. Now I can just put in my cost here. Let's say it cost me, that might be a little low. I haven't bought a radio ad in a while, but let's say maybe $1,500. Okay, that's my spend for the radio ad. It's going to play all month long. Well, my created date's good to go, but I could go ahead and put it in an end date if I like. Let's say the end of the 30th, that's fine. Okay, then we have that ability to switch it on as Gravity Form default and set the campaign status as either active or inactive. As you can see, it's set to active by default upon creation, so you shouldn't have to think about it too much. But attach intel. Hit this little handy checkbox, and you can now, this will reflect as many intel groups as you have created in Bpro. So if you guys have 2 intel groups, they'll both be listed. If you have 5, all 5 will be listed. And within each group, you'll be able to pick any of the associated intels that live in that group. So here I have commercial and residential as options. I'll pick whichever ones I need, and just some other random examples. So if it was building with pets, let's say, I'll pick those as well. So again, I can make it so that every time I tie this radio ad lead source campaign to any customer or lead, it'll automatically throw in residential, building, and pets intel also to the profile. So I won't have to go select it afterwards. Pretty easy. And definitely, I could add more intels to that client's profile afterwards. I could even remove these intels later on too. So they're not like set in stone or anything, but it just saves a step of me having to add them manually each time. Okay, so I create that campaign, it's active. I can now select it literally on any customer in the system. So I'll just hit refresh here, just to pull my updates into this other tab. And hitting edit, radio ad, October promo, and look at that, just swaps out the intels for me accordingly, and save. Oh yeah, I got those new required fields. All good. I hope you guys like that. It's one that I'm super excited about. I think it makes entry easier, it makes data collection easier. So perfect. So now I'd like to, and also, yeah, any questions on the lead campaign management section, please let me know. Again, I was kind of getting to the point that presently in the system, the lead campaigns, I wanted to try and show it a little bit, but they exist in terms of adding or editing them. If you have the permission level anyways, you would have the ability to add or edit right in the present dropdown. And so it doesn't really give the feature the importance or justice that it deserves. It really needed its own dedicated page to be able to tie in much better functionality overall. All right, so I do want to point out a few things that are not necessarily like new features or anything like that, but a little more like logic changes and other small things that would be easy to miss. Okay, so some new features as well, but I'm just going to go through some of these points real quick. Okay, what do I got here? Now, first one I wanted to really touch on was the new ability to deactivate customers, contacts, and addresses. It's really awesome. I like it a lot. I know a lot of people have different needs for why they would want to do that, and I'll explain some examples here. Now, the deactivate feature does not exist in the create/edit form at all. Okay, it doesn't exist either on the customer list page. Okay, but what? Oh, I didn't mean to leave. Whoops. Okay, I'm just gonna go like this. Yeah, okay. So yeah, like I was saying, it doesn't exist here either when we edit. We'll get the same new form, but the option doesn't exist on the form itself. It exists on the record. So here in the profile, like you can see, I can just click to deactivate. And so some might be wondering, well, why would I want to deactivate a customer? And really, there could be a number of reasons. Some people might want to deactivate a customer that they simply do not want to ever service again. Yeah, there's lots of good reasons. Yeah, and that's just one. Maybe the client moved, like Cassia suggested. That's a good one too. Like moved far, like they're not going to be able to be serviced anymore. And the other thing too, like I've even had people ask, well, like I want to run a list of my customers. So they go to the customers list and it has all of the contacts they've really built into the software. Some have paying jobs, some do not. One option is check out the customer revenue report for any period. It will show you all clients that have purchased, all time, even if you run the date range wide enough. But I have other people too that just want to get a sense of clients that are really actively buying versus not. So if I have clients in my system that have quotes, maybe I just leave them as inactive. Anyhow, when I deactivate a client, I cannot create an order on their behalf. I just click new job and I get a quick message here from the system telling me I must activate the client in order to create a job. And I even have a prompt here to go ahead and activate the client and create a job in the same step. Okay, so if I do that, it's just going to generate me right into a new order like I'd be accustomed to when clicking the new job button. Okay, so I can't do that. Easy to activate the client right back. Okay, and what happens here too, the little green dot next to their name, that's new. That indicates that they're active. And of course it goes gray once they're deactivated. Okay, now not limited either to the profile. What I like really even more about this is that it also exists with contacts and addresses. So let's add a contact real quick. Let's just say Cassia, and good enough. Okay, so same idea. If you do work with other businesses or gosh, even residential, like it's kind of a sad scenario, but if a spouse died or something like that, you could deactivate that contact and even maybe leave a little note as a reminder. But I think more commonly you'll run into it if you do work with other businesses. That contact I had, they quit and they left and they went with another company. That's totally cool. From there, we'd actually go onto the addresses, sorry. And same idea with the addresses. Like if a client moved, like your example earlier, Cassia, that's a perfect time to deactivate an address. And I really recommend that actually over the alternative, which, people might think, well, why don't I just update the address here on the file? Absolutely update the address on the file. But you may want to retain that original address for historical purposes, right? So you can just deactivate it And here's just another part of like really just a slight logic change, okay? If I change the address here on the file, it will update the associated matching address, but it will also update all historical records that have that address tied to it. So that's an important thing to point out from a logic change that did not happen in the past or even present. You change that address on file, you would have to manually select a different address potentially on the order to have it reflect the way you want. But now it will automatically change it on existing orders. So heads up on that. But otherwise, I think that's really ultimately what people tend to expect from how it actually works. Okay, so deactivating addresses, same idea, real easy. I now can't attach this particular address to a job, for instance. Same idea with contacts. Now, you know how I mentioned when you create a client profile and you save it, it doesn't create a contact automatically. That's actually really good, but it will create an address. And even when you're looking at the address here, let's say I edit it, you can now assign a contact to an address. So that's a little bit of the difference. Like even before when we were adding the new customers, we'd have address, contact name, address, contact phone number. It's very redundant because in a lot of cases, it's the same person on the profile. We didn't forget about those situations of variation. You can still accommodate those quite well. And so if I do need to tie a certain contact here, I just go into the address record itself and pick from any of the contacts on the file. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense from that standpoint as well. Okay, but yeah, the activate, deactivate was kind of a big one that I wanted to spend a bit of time on. Another thing to point out for the activate, deactivate is that even if the client's deactivated, I can still edit their profile information. So if I needed to change their name or update their phone number or anything like that, I can do that. Filling out my required fields. Okay. So just gonna check here real quick. I'm gonna just see how I'm doing for time. How are we looking, Cassia?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, so we're pretty good for time. We covered all the real main pieces here, and we will take some time to check out questions. Just gonna check here back in the profile. I do have a couple more items of logic to point out. There is gonna be a little bit of cleanup on addresses because of the contact and phone number change. So basically, if the phone number and address, email, let's say information tied to an address matches up with a contact, you'll just link it automatically. Same thing, we're gonna do a bit of cleanup in the update. So you're not gonna be left with a bunch of random records. It's actually gonna consolidate things nicely. There was that part of it. We talked about the phone number cleanup for the phone types. We'll be mapping those all accordingly as well. So that'll be much nicer. Got that. Oh, yeah, want to check on that. Yep. No, we're doing pretty good here, guys. I think I've covered things well. I just gave myself a bit of list of notes here for some of the key points I wanted to make sure to cover. Yep. Oh, okay. One thing I did want to point out, I talked about address records being updated and it affecting historical records. You will have the same effect when editing contacts and like phone number information in the profile. So just bear that in mind. But you do have that ability to deactivate. And I think phone numbers updating on the client's orders is, again, probably generally very much better expected logic. So I think last to that was just, I wanted to show a quick update with the notifications. If you guys happen to attend our previous webinar on notifications, we have made a quick or not quick, but like a change within the settings there. But it's an important change and it's worth mentioning here while I have the microphone, I guess, in hand. All right, so here in the settings on the notifications builder, yeah, I've got this hooked up to a number of different locations, but these are your system defaults. And if you're just like one location, you're just gonna see one line here with your business name. But when you unselect, say, email, that is like the system on and off switch now. And again, I think it fits better with presumed logic or expected behavior. So when I turn that off, literally no email notifications are going to send out of the system to anybody. So same with app and SMS. And when I do that, if I go to the profile here on a particular client like Stevie, I'll probably have to do a quick refresh here. It won't turn off any customers' previous preferences. So like, let's say in Stevie here, oh, do I not have the notification options open? No, I don't. I don't have the notifications section here. That's okay. But you guys know like the notification settings in your customer profile, and here's why. I'm so silly. I don't have those settings present because I didn't opt my client in. Best email ever. All right. Okay. Whoa. All right. So in the notification settings, like I said, when we flip those master switches from the notification builder settings, right, we went up to the settings menu. That won't change any existing opt-ins that you have for your clients. It just won't. It simply is like a master switch. So just think of it like that. And if you decide to turn it back on, same idea. It won't have any effect on the individual client's preferences. All right, so that was an important one to point out. With the form customizations too, and I just don't know if I really mentioned it or not, but this is an area where permission will play a part. So you may not have full accessibility to edit all of your forms. If you are a part of a multi-location system, if you're a sub-location within that system, basically, you won't be able to edit any forms that have been explicitly configured a certain way. Like any of the configurations made, say, from the top level would not be editable by you. But if there's things that aren't locked in from the top level, those will be open to making your own preference changes. Okay, so let me check out the questions section here. Oh, we'll go over to Q&A. Oh,
That's weird.
1 sec here. How do I make this bigger?
Just click more
Okay.
and then check.
Okay, thanks, Cassie. So just checking out some more questions here, guys. Oh, are these all new ones? Okay. Kendra asks, will we be able to deactivate or delete them? Not sure if your question was related to customers' addresses or contacts, but presently you could delete all three. Contacts and addresses, you can delete literally at any time. Let's just maybe show that off real quick. I'm not sure what's actually taking up my screen here. Oops, wrong scroll bar. So Cassia here. I'm sorry, Cassia, but okay, so just click show more. You'll see the edit option as well as the delete option, phone and email if they exist on the file. Bye, Cassia. Okay, so same idea with addresses, Kendra. Customers, though, you can only delete if they don't have any orders in the system tied to them. So in this case, Stevie, yes, I can fully delete Stevie from the system. Okay, I'm gonna move that. Okay, and just checking more questions here. Will deactivated contacts show up in a search? Yeah, absolutely. Good point there. I think actually, let me just double check some of the filters here. I don't know if everything's like fully up to date in here yet. I think things are pretty much good to go. We're really just mainly in the finishing up the testing phase on some of these. First, I'm just going to check the filters. Okay, I'm not seeing filter-wise anything for active, inactive. I'll check into that further here, Harry, and I might have to get back to you on that one, but you can definitely filter by customers that do not wish to have phone calls.
You can send the answer out with the recording as
Yeah,
well,
maybe.
so everyone gets it.
Maybe we'll answer out. When we send out the recording to everybody there, just to clarify. Let me see if there's a column in here, and it could just be something that's coming as a late addition here. I am just on like a testing site right now. Not seeing the option at this time, Harry, but I'll check into that. Yep, we'll let you know. But yeah, they should. You know, I know your question actually is more for search.
Bruce says there is a filter.
Okay, there is a filter for active versus inactive. Maybe I just didn't see it there, but that's okay. It's still a good validation from our team. Search. So who do I have here? I've got Stevie. Let's set Stevie to, okay, Stevie's inactive. Perfect. So let's just search up Stevie. Stevie. There we go. So search-wise, yes, absolutely. They'll definitely still be fully searchable. So you won't have to think and wonder, oh, is this person not showing up because they're deactivated? You'll be able to pull them out of the list, no problem. And yeah, I believe also, I'll just check on the next one here. Okay, so William is asking. Oh, I'm not sure what William was asking there. Okay, keep moving. Oh, Doris, okay, yeah. Reading this question. We service addresses, customer moves, but host does not. How can we best keep notes for an address? Well, you know, like it's really structured in a way that addresses are linked to your customers, right? So that it's like we create the customer profile in the system and then we create addresses attached to it. Not really the other way around, although I totally get what you're saying. But probably the best way to manage that would just be keeping the notes tied to the addresses, ensuring we also have global addresses as an option in the system. That might be another alternative, but it'd almost be like you'd be building the profile of the address first and then attaching customers to it after. So hard to say, Doris. I might have to come back to you direct on that one offline. Thanks for the question, though. It's really good. Okay, just checking. Oh, yeah, Guru's saying we also have I don't even know how I missed that. We've got an active column, of course, so you're going to clearly see who's active and not in the list. There is also a filter for it, so that's great. When you're exporting and you're looking at your customer list, you can see who's active and who's not, absolutely. And great too for filtering, right? Because you might want to send maybe or make phone calls just to people that you've identified as active or not, right? So, okay, so next, checking out a quick question from Leanne. Will we be able to see the webinar in replay? Absolutely, we'll be sending it out to everybody probably tomorrow or so, once we have all the video content loaded up and curated. Marketing might get their hands on it too, hard to say. Okay, yeah, no worries, Leanne. Yeah, she's missed a few things throughout the call here. Don't worry, we'll send that over to you, and you'll be able to watch everything in full detail. Okay, Christine is asking, can we still delete contacts and addresses? Sorry, yep, I see I've already answered that one. Okay, Harry. Harry is asking, okay, if a customer moves and I want past jobs to retain the service address, will I be able to do that? Yes, you will. Let's just check here real quick. The best way to do that, Harry, if they move, simply deactivate the previous address. So it still exists, it'll still be in existence. It's when you edit the existing address and replace its information with the new information, it will overwrite that information on existing orders. So that's where probably better for that scenario if they move, just deactivate them rather than change the address entirely. Now I know you'll still change the address on the file, but I'm just saying keep that one record for that old address in the process prior to making the change on the profile. Next up, we've got, I think that's it for the questions. I did see some in the Q&A. I'm just having some trouble accessing them. Get up there. Maybe, I don't know if we didn't have that panel enabled or. Well, we do see a few questions in the Q&A section, but I'm having trouble opening it up. So if I am able to address those, I will definitely answer those. I'll include the questions and answers and share them with everybody so that we can all make sure we've got the proper info.
Yeah, I think we got them.
I think we did get them all too. But yeah, like just in case if I missed anybody's questions, like I said, I'll follow back up and I'll make sure we get the appropriate answer out. But that covers it, guys. Thanks so much for joining me. At least I think I covered everything, but like I said, I'll certainly let you know if I missed anything at all. But these will be coming out in the weeks ahead. We will be reaching out to everybody just to keep them in the loop with the official release date. But I am really excited about this one. I hope you are too. I feel it's really going to be a big improvement on this process, like just entering customers. I know everybody does it every day and leads, and I hope it can really make a difference on people's day, save you time, save you clicks, and just make the whole process straightforward also for staff. So thanks again.
Oh, and also, sorry, just to jump in.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be doing a draw after as well. So we'll be drawing from all the attendees' names. So we'll pick 2, and we'll connect with you after to get your mailing information. So good luck.
Yeah, little draw. Awesome.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Cassia. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you everybody so much. Like I said, feel free to chat in if you have any additional questions post-webinar here. But
so we're going to give them the swag too. I didn't say that.
Oh, the prize?
For the contest, yeah.
Okay, the prize is going to be
some
swags or swag. I don't know. But yeah, thank you all, guys. You're all fantastic. You're great. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.